Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Chuck, and I've got another firefighter story for you this afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's real pretty out. It's a little bit of a breeze, though. I'm afraid that if I tried to shoot this outside, it'd be too much wind noise on the microphone. So I'm going to try to shoot it from here. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to pan out the window here. We're at the corner of a shopping center right downtown, and whoa. What we've got is a Subway there, and down the way there's a supermarket. And if you pan off this way here, there's some more stores. There's an H&R Block, there's the driver's license place, and there's a vacant place down at the end that used to be a dry cleaners. That doesn't really have anything to do with the story, but it's Sunday, so they're all closed, which is a good time to come and film this. So the story I want to tell you about involves this little corner sandwich shop right here. Now, that didn't always used to be a Subway. When it first opened years ago, it was something called the Great American Sandwich Shop, which had a kind of a red, white, and blue stars and stripes scheme. And eventually it was in business for a while, and eventually it got taken over by Subway, and it's been a Subway location for many, many years. I've eaten here many times. But my story is about that corner building, back when it was the Great American Sandwich Shop. Well, this shopping center, like a lot of them, is covered with fire sprinklers, and the proper term is not sprinkled. The proper term is actually sprinklered, and so this whole shopping center is sprinklered all the way down. Well, what happened one night was they had a disgruntled employee, and when he was closing, he decided he was going to get even with his bosses, and so he set fire to the trash can in the restroom in this little sandwich shop. And then he immediately left, locked the doors, and left for the night. Well, what ended up happening is that he probably wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but anyway, what ended up happening was that the fire got big enough it actuated the sprinkler in the restroom. Sprinkler put the fire out. But the sprinklers, unlike what you see in the movies, they don't all come on at once. The only ones that come on are the ones that are affected by the heat, but they don't turn themselves off once they come on. Well, even to this day, there's not a lot of people living around here, and sprinkler systems are required to have a notification, an alarm that goes off when the sprinkler starts operating. But they're not required to be tied into an alarm system. On this wing of this building, the sprinkler system in this building, the inlet was way down at the back of that far occupancy, the vacant one down at the end there. And on the outside of that, they had what they call a water motor gong, and what that is that's a bell that when water starts flowing through it, it sets off an alarm. Well, it worked just perfect. The only problem is that there was nobody around to hear it. It was in the middle of the night. There's no houses around there or anything like that. What finally ended up, the way the fire finally got discovered, was a sharp-eyed police officer on his rounds noticed water running out from under the door, that little door right there under the open sign. It says new on it, right where that gentleman's getting ready to walk in the door there. Well, he noticed water running out from under that door and running across the parking lot here in front of us. And so he looked around, didn't see anything, but saw water running, so he reported it, and they sent us over here. And fortunately, it was a little town at the time. We're still a little town, but we're not as little as we used to be. And we actually knew the person. We knew the manager. And so we had no problem contacting the manager, so we didn't have to break in to get in there. What we did is we called them. They came down with the keys and opened the place up. There was nothing visible inside. So we went inside, and we found that the water's coming from the restroom. And it was wintertime. We thought something might have frozen, broke or something. But we got in there and we found the fire and found the sprinkler was very happily spraying water all over the place at about 40 gallons a minute, because that's what they put out. And so anyway, we we went back to the shut off. We got the water shut off and got it taken care of. There was no way, the police department kind of latched on to the point that it must have been a cigarette in a trash can, and they weren't real active trying to pursue it. And we were pretty sure there was a disgruntled employee that did it, but that was never proven. So that was one example of where a fire sprinkler put out the fire that obviously would have caused a lot of damage to this entire shopping center. There's a couple little sidebars to that. Number one is the sprinkler technology has been around for over 100 years, probably 130 years or so now. And statistically, fire sprinklers put out 97% of the fires that occur in sprinklered buildings. The only time the sprinklers seem like they don't work is if either the fire starts with some kind of an explosion that damages the piping, or overwhelms the sprinkler system by just tripping too many heads, or that the system is turned off. We've had a lot of issues over the years with sprinkler systems here in town, and the main reason is that they're not, surprisingly, a lot of people don't realize it, but it's not a requirement that sprinkler systems be designed by an engineer. They're designed by a technician, and the technicians vary by how competent they actually are. And up here in our country, most of the buildings were designed by architects that live out of town, and a lot of the sprinkler systems were designed by people that live in the Metro Phoenix area, where it never freezes. So the majority of the issues that we've had with sprinklers over the years, let me pan back around here so you don't have to look at the same thing. In fact, I'll spin you back around so you can talk to me, or so I can talk to you, I should say. I got the dog here with me. We just went over to the dog park, and so he's sitting right below me, so he might get up in the picture here. But the majority of the incidents that we've responded to over the years in sprinklered buildings have been the result, usually weather-related, of damage to the sprinklers. And they put them up in the attic, and they don't protect them from freezing, and they freeze. It's just it's improper design, improper installation, or improper maintenance. The vast majority of the sprinkler-related calls that we went on. This one here was an actual fire that wasn't extinguished by the sprinkler system. If you see the Tesla that's driving away, there's actually a Tesla supercharging thing right behind me here. It might even catch it on camera. 13 stalls. I've seen as many as 9 Teslas here being charged. But the thing that made this call unique, and the reason why I'm even telling you about it today, is this was the first time that, as a firefighter, I had ever responded to a fire call in a sprinklered building that was controlled by the sprinkler system. I had actually, believe it or not, folks, I had been a firefighter for 17 years before that ever happened. Prior to that, every call that I'd responded to that involves fire sprinklers in a building had been some kind of a system malfunction. Every single one for 17 years. Now, there were quite a number of them after that, but this was the first one, and that's the reason why I'm telling you the story today. So let me pan you around one more time here. It's a Sunday afternoon. There are some businesses that are open, but it's basically pretty quiet here. Shopping center parking lot's pretty quiet. So with all that, I'm going to tell you to, as I always do, tell you to take care of each other, love each other. It's a wonderful life. I got a Ford F-150 parking right in front of me here. And I'm going to let you go for now, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Peace out.